um, let's see.
It still says upcoming for me. Is it playing for you?
Yeah, it is. Okay, there's Noreen. Hi, Noreen.
Okay, I'm gonna close out and go back in. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being so patient.
Yes, thank you so much. I am so sorry for the delay. I think Noreen is the one person who held out. Thank you so much, Noreen. Well, I really appreciate that.
Hello, Noreen.
Yeah, it took more time than I had intended, but you know what? The next one will go better. And hey, there's Ocean. Thank you so much for being here, Ocean.
Hi, Ocean. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, how are you guys tonight?
I think it's a really good topic that that Dustin picked for tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Mainly because I had to really trust throughout that whole process. So yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and get started, but thank you, Gypsy Mama, for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Noreen, and thank you, Ocean, for being here. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Excellent. Sounds like good stuff. How is everybody doing this evening? How are you doing this evening, Tanya?
I am doing better.
Good.
I think we've talked a little bit about it's been hard these last little whiles. I really, when Mary today on her live was talking about like being on a roller coaster, I was like, yep, that's exactly it. And I want off. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like amusement parks. I want off.
Yeah, and it absolutely, it's been like that lately so much. I mean, there's been so much going on, right? Like just so much craziness with all of the different things that are being pushed and challenges that we're having to go through, and you know, both like on a global scale and on a personal scale. It's been tough, right? No bullshit.
Yeah.
Looks like we have some more people too. Hi, Mary Jean. And
Hello,
hi, Danielle. Hi, thank you so much for being here. Oh man, yeah.
Technology, you know?
Yeah, I know. And it's like, apparently, you know, you have to make sure you're looking at the most updated information too, because otherwise, who knows what instructions you're following. Hi, Kathleen.
Oh, hello, Kathleen. Oh no, the Wi-Fi is kicking her in and out. I had to tell my kids to turn off their Wi-Fi because I was like, I'm trying to use my computer, and this computer is so old that it's like, yeah, it doesn't work good if anything else is on.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, yeah. And Danielle, thank you for being here, even though you're getting your kids to sleep. It's always challenging with kids too, trying to get technology and kids, you know, they don't meld too well either. Yeah, how is everyone in the chat doing this evening?
Is anybody else feeling the void? I definitely feel like I'm in a void. Time is just like super weird. The energy's been really weird. I was telling Justin how this weekend I went to a really great event of like, it was a live DJ and he put together this like yoga, but it was like movement yoga, and then we did like a dance afterwards, which was really great, like all the things that I love to do. And we did some like partner work, and I hadn't realized, you know, until I was like doing the partner work with one of my friends, Loren, who came with me, and it was like just being in that energy with somebody else, and just, that touch, like doing the work where we were like touching each other and like laying on each other. And I was like, wow, it just, it kind of like brings to the forefront again, like, I mean, I'm so grateful for everybody that I've been meeting and all that, but just the like the in person, like presence of being with people in person, and how it just kind of reminded me again of how isolating this time has been, and how it's just like really changed things. Because like for me, there's certain energies, whether it be places or people, that I'm just like, I'm not going to be a part of anymore. And I'm okay with that. But that really limits,
Limits
then
who you can interact.
yeah, it limits like the places I will go to, the people I will hang around with. And it's like, if only I could take you people from the internet and be able to hang out with you guys. Yeah, it kind of just brought that. So I had and obviously, because what we were doing this weekend was very similar to what I do in embodiment dance, with like moving stuck energy and moving like emotions and traumas through your body, then that ripples like the next, through the whole week almost, really. Like, so a lot of things have been coming up for me, and a lot of like different emotions and different, I mean, we're also in that time that a lot of things are coming up. So it's just like, I'm just like, whoa.
It absolutely, I mean, and you are like finding ways to connect, which is really important right now. But we are coming out of this period of isolation, of hermitage, of working through all of this trauma. I mean, on so many levels. I mean, we're first dealing with a lot of rejection energy from people who weren't happy with the way that we might have responded by standing up for ourselves to certain things. And then we're also, like you were saying, learning the other side of that, the importance of standing up for ourselves. And that also does mean that, that it might be those same people that are not going to be in our energy as much anymore. But like you were saying, it can be a good thing. I mean, it's a part of our growth, a part of our soul growth. And then those who aren't doing that inner work, they're not going to be at that same frequency. And I mean, I've noticed, especially people who are not at that frequency of truth, who don't align with it, like it's hard to be in the same room as them. Like it's honestly, there's even like this repelling sense of force. Hi, Renee. Hi, Keith. Oh, Keith is here.
Keith, we've missed you.
All right. I got Keith back for my first live stream. I'm feeling pretty good.
Love it.
Sweet. It's awesome. Ocean says that he's been smashing weights and doing yin yoga, which sounds fantastic.
Sweet.
And let's see.
Malika's here too.
Oh, thank you for being here, Malika. So appreciate it.
I love what Danielle said. She said, now is the time to make those connections with the right people instead of the wrong ones, like we may have previously.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And like you were talking about, I mean, it really makes a huge difference when you can be in the energy of those people who are at that frequency with you, who do want to have truth. And sometimes those people are cats.
Hi, Gwen.
Yeah, she wants to be here too. So
I saw her walk in the door there.
She's been very active, like ever since giving her some of that algae oil in her food every now and then, she's like super active and super, super energized. But yeah, it's so important to do that, and just kind of want to, bridge into that, like we're, after having gone through all of this trauma and everything, I think it's really important for us to think about how do we reintegrate and how do we reconnect to source? How do we figure out, like, how do we find that integration again, that sense of balance, that sense of being centered, you know? And why is that so important? I mean, if we're not centered, if we're not in that place, we're not able to act in a way that, you know, allows us to use our best spiritual gifts and our best abilities to help heal and guide to and minister to others, and whatever, you know, shape that may take. So, you know, it is so important for us to do that. Hey, Hankowitz, good to see you here. Yeah, I just wanted to take a minute to ask, you know, what are some of the ways, and Gypsy Mom, I'll start with you. What are some of the ways that you especially like to become centered, you know? And then I'd like to ask the chat as well. But yeah, what are some ways that you especially enjoy being centered?
Yeah, so it really depends on like where I'm at, what kind of time I have. You know, if I'm out and about or things are crazy and I don't have time to do like even a 5-minute meditation,
Yeah.
then I really rely heavily on essential oils. Like that really is my go-to, to utilize the plant medicines and because it will help me to take that breath and to like really come to that center. In the summertime, I'm a lot better at going outside and just really like grounding myself. I'll admit in the wintertime, I'm not so like keen to just be like, hey, I'm going to go outside. But I've really been like, you know, if I'm at home and I'm really needing to find center, I will, like, even if it's just 5-10 minutes. And, you know, I've put away like any type of like judgment that I put on myself of feeling that like as a single parent or as a parent in general, right, that we can't take this time to do our work. Because I've come to realize that when I'm meditating and when I'm doing these things, I am a better person and I'm a better parent that way. So my kids understand when I'm like, Mama just needs like 5-10 minutes. I'll be better after this, you know? And it really is, you know, because then when I'm in meditation, I'm able to like slow down. I'm able to take the breaths that I need to take. And, you know, or sometimes it's writing something down and putting it in my God box, in my Reiki that I've Reiki'd, right? If it's something that that's causing me like anxiety or stress or that I'm worrying over, and it's like I just can't get that thought out of my head, then I'll write it down and I put it in there. And it just helps me to stop that like that motion, right? And then the other thing would be affirmations. Really focusing on my affirmations and turning around whatever it is that, you know, what is it that I'm dealing with right now, and turning that around so that I'm not focusing on that which I don't want and I'm bringing in that what I do want.
Yeah, I like to use the term transmuting it, right? Like we're figuring out how to transmute that into something positive that can help us and enable us instead of keeping us off our path. And even trauma, like as hard as it can be, like trauma can either be something that destabilizes us from our connection to source, or it can be that exact reminder that we need to reconnect. I'm so glad that you mentioned that example with your kids, because you know, like that with my kids as well. You know, they have an understanding of like, oh yeah, this is, you know, because sometimes they're like, oh, meditation is boring, like I don't want to do that or whatever. But then they see like, oh, okay, dad's doing this, like dad's in this place. When dad's getting to do this, he's able to be more present for us. And, you know, the act of being in alignment with source, you know, and you can call it blind faith, you can call it like feeling that middle pillar, like feeling that trust, like leaning back into that trust. you know, gets us there, whatever we need to do to use that. And yeah, you listed so many great methods of how we can do that. And
A good one
Danielle,
with kids too. Like if you guys have kids, put on some music and dance it out. Like
yeah,
that's one, I mean, at least for my kids, right? It's just like, let's change up this energy, you know, like let's put on some music, let's dance it out. Or else I'll put on like some binaural beats to chill things out. Like if things are too crazy and it's just like things are hectic, then I'll do the opposite with the frequencies, right? Is just being able to like chill things out that way.
most
And
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
Makayo now, because he does his toning, and it was like even today he was like, here mom, I'm gonna give you some tones. And he started
Oh.
like toning and I was like, thank you. After he like hit me, I was like, I didn't but okay.
Yeah, Kara does that too. And you know, and it's great when they have that moment of realization, like, oh, wait a minute, I can do this too, right? Like, you know, like I can change this, like I can change the way I'm responding in the situation. And it's so, I feel like it's such a blessing to see our kids when they have those little recognitions, those little moments. Oh man, it really warms my heart. Yeah, so and I'm just gonna look at the chat here some
Yeah.
to get some of what they're talking about. Hi Mary, thank you so much for being here. And Danielle talks about grabbing, you know, her favorite crystal, which is another great way to do that.
Yeah,
Grounding
always.
crystal.
Like I always have crystals like in my pockets, in my hands, all over my house. That's another one too with your kids,
Yeah.
right? Those people that have kids, like teach your kids why you have certain crystals and why certain ones help, because they too will start, like, you know, Makayo has crystals underneath his pillow, and he'll see me bringing certain crystals to bed, and he'll ask me like why this one, and it's like I'll explain to him, you know, this is going to help us with the pain, or this is going to help us sleep or whatever. And also, like, I've been really teaching him to call upon his angel guides,
Yeah.
and teaching them, like, you know, when he was under the weather last week, is like, ask your angel guides to help you with this.
That's so good. Yeah, I started doing that yesterday more with my kids. We did the Lily Nova activation together. Like at first I was like, should I include them in this? Because I know it's going to be a little rough, but they also, like, they do know that there's a lot of craziness going on. They have like a general understanding. And of course I never go into detail about stuff that's happened to kids, but I'll explain to them, like, look, you know, there's a lot of children that have had a lot of suffering and very difficult challenges that they've been through. And, you know, what we're doing now is to help heal them and to heal us. And it was even like giving them each like some selenite to hold and helping them to just get into that calm space and, you know, feel the violet flame. And, you know, we called in Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and like you were saying, the angels, and it really does make such a difference. I mean, you can, like, my son was even like, wow, Dad, like I can feel, you know, the crystal vibrating. It was
Oh,
really cool.
wow.
Yeah. So, I was like, this one is yours now. You keep this one, you know. Uh,
I love that.
so yeah, it was precious. Um, yeah. Bye, Mary. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see.
Keith says that the right people recharge me and the wrong ones drain me. No thanks. I feel you there, Keith.
Yeah, I absolutely hear you. Um, so, and Kathleen is mentioning breath work when the round is still asleep, and the ones who believe in the pokes. The pokes. I've never heard it called that. That's pretty good. Yeah. And Malika is talking about balancing with self-care, work, and kid time. Yeah, it really does help. You know, I feel when I'm not with my kids, I often it is like more confusing for me sometimes, because I'm like, I'm not really sure. When I'm with my kids, I know like, okay, I'm doing things for them, I'm providing for them, I'm caring for them. Sometimes when I'm not, it's like what am I supposed to be doing right now?
It's a
And just,
mind fuck, really. Like when you, yeah, it's that balance of like, okay, wait, now I'm like, I got this life that I can do things, but what do I do? Like I'm supposed
yeah,
to be taking care of people 24/7.
I know. It really is.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's so important for us to try and, you know, take that to remind ourselves, I guess, to take that time for that self-care when we can. Um, and yeah, and Kathleen also mentions being outside in nature, how much that really helps. And yeah, kids do spend too much time indoors. Absolutely. So, you
Renee
know,
said, I go into my space, read my affirmations, and take a warm salt bath. That's my jam. Renee, I was like, okay, I actually just have to go and take a bath. I usually don't do it during the day, like when because my kids are here. Um, and I was like, no, I need to do this. So I did my salt bath. I even grabbed my black salt, like my black ritual salt for like
oh,
extra like cleansing. And then I, did my singing bowl to like bless the water and grab my crystals and stuff.
yeah,
And I did like a meditation while I was in the bath, and it was like, oh, okay, there we go.
yeah. Oh, it's so it's so great when you can combine all of those elements. And sometimes like having the right music, the right binaural beats, like I've been really enjoying this. It's like this shamanic power return music. I'm not really sure exactly how else to describe it. I think I posted it on my Telegram channel a few times, but it's so good. Like it really helps me a lot anyway. And yeah, like doing more salt baths, makes such a big difference. And yeah, Ocean's talking about the importance of not giving your energy to negative and toxic people. Yeah, I mean, really that's a big part of it too. And it's challenging sometimes because we're still, having to work through these matrix systems a lot of the time. These systems are often built to drain from us, when it comes to things like taxes and the court system and, all of the political stuff, stuff that when you're at a higher frequency, you just don't even feel like you have time for anymore. Like it's just not even, you know, not even resonating. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing this thing. And it's just, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly where I'm at right now. We've had this conversation quite a few times because I'm just like, I don't even like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do any of this like bullshit stuff. Like I'm so beyond it. And then it's like, oh, but I am still living in this like 3D world that I do actually have to go to court and do these things.
I know.
Uh,
Yeah. And same here, similar stuff. But I feel like even when those 3D things come up, that can be another important reminder, like, okay, I have to go through this, but instead of going through it, for me, this is something that I challenge myself to do, and I'm not always successful at it. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this from an aligned place instead of from a, chaotic, crazy place. And I'm just going to work on, doing that, whatever it is, like whatever it is that you need to connect, the oil, or the breath work, and just staying present with your breath, and feeling that connection, like leaning into it, and just trusting and standing in that trust. I think like and energetically, like that's so much what it comes down to. I mean, we talk about like having faith and all of these other things, and really like it is that faith that is so strong that it becomes like an alignment of trust, regardless of what's happening outside of us. That trust, as if we have it and if it's there, we feel aligned. And we can move forward even through some of the most difficult and challenging circumstances. that this 3D world has to offer. And hopefully we won't have to do that for too much longer. But, you know, as like things are being disclosed, and it is taking more time than I think any of us would really like, it's necessary. And, you know, whatever it takes, you know, to do that is so important. Yeah. Oh yeah, I jumped on those trolls.
Oh, you got it. Sorry, I was like, I should be watching this since I'm your
No, that's
moderator.
okay. It's all good. I need to figure out this, like if I could give more people wrenches right now, I would, but I'm still figuring out how this
If you
works.
just click on their name.
I'll click on their name. Okay. Yeah, the 3 dots aren't giving it to me for some reason. So I think I have to.
Says rose quartz hearts for all, love to give them away as gifts. That's so beautiful.
Those are so beautiful. Yeah, the basically, like, you know, and rose quartz, that's a great tool as well. Like talking about tools that help us. I mean, when you have rose quartz and you're connecting with it, you feel that energy in your heart space. And when you're in that place of trust, you know, you're going from source, like the way that I experience it. Like I feel that connection coming down from my crown into my heart space, and then into, you know, all of my chakras, and breathing it out. Rose quartz is a great way to help us be in that heart space, and then, you know, work from and align from that heart space. And then when we are aligning in that space, we have, you know, the place of power that we need to be in to offer our gifts, to use our intuition, our healing, you know, astrology. You can really tell the difference between someone who is, you know, an aligned healer or reader or astrologer, or, you know, whatever it is, based on whether or not they're in that space. And, you know, I see, and this isn't meant to be like, you know, disparaging towards anyone, but there's a lot of, you know, pop-up, I think, kind of pop like card readers out there right now who, you know, they get cards and they're like, oh yeah, like I know how to do this, but they're not aligned, and so they're not really feeling that, they're not really getting, you know, the full benefit or doing the work that they could be doing. Now it might help that they get aligned as a result of doing that practice, but it, you know, it's a process, I think, and it requires that ability to have and stand in that faith, and in that trust and that heart alignment. So
Ooh,
hey, Ben.
Ben's in the house.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
He was sitting in the waiting screen. What does that mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what. Yeah. So everyone, I apologize. I set this up as a scheduled live. I should have just made it like a regular live. I'm still figuring this out. It'll go better next time. I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. Yeah, and Ocean says, always trust your intuition. Yeah, Ben, what are some ways that you like to, you know, realign with your connection to God, source, creator, you know, to the divine love that flows through us? And like, what do you like to do that? Anyone else who, you know, feels like chiming in, please feel free to wait. Please feel free to do so. Yeah, and Kathleen has a question. So when focusing all of my energy right above my belly button, I feel a wonderful sense of euphoria and lightheadedness. Anyone else get that sensation? Yeah, so absolutely. Say again?
Your hara.
Your hara.
Your hara.
I'm not familiar with that term. What does that mean?
We were taught it in Reiki, your hara, like your like energy source ball is like right at your belly button area.
Oh,
And it sounds like that's what she's like really connecting with.
yeah.
Literally like your life force energy sits right in your hara. And what is she, the way that she taught my kids Reiki, oh, I'd have to ask them. It's basically about like getting out of your head and into your heart and into your like hara. I forget
Yeah.
what she calls it. They're watching a show, so they're not listening to me. They're like totally ignoring me right now. But it sounds like that's what she's talking about there.
Yeah, that's so interesting, because when you do the Merkaba meditation, that's where you center that energy. And then you get to, I think it's the 15th breath, where you then push that energy upwards into your heart space. And that's where like everything just kind of goes, and expands. And your aura just kind of just like that. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I have a name for it now too. Like, and I was thinking, like solar plexus as well. But thank you for explaining that too. I appreciate that, Tanya. And Ben mentioned that showers and dance, baby. Connecting to your inner child is the best way. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's so important too for us to connect with our inner child. I mean, when we come into this world, I mean, we are naturally more aligned with source already. And, unfortunately, we've all gone through a lot of different levels and aspects of that 3D matrix programming that have taken us out of it. And when we get older and we start to relearn and rediscover as adults, we can reconnect. But the inner child work is so important. And it's especially important too for anyone who, if you're meditating for long stretches of time, like there can be times where you just kind of feel a little like listless or still. And those are those times where it's so important to re-embrace your inner child. And then allow and this is something that I will do without realizing it, where I'll not really be allowing the healing to impart from whatever I'm doing. Like the process, like I'm doing the process, like I'm doing the physical act of it, but I'm not actually like imparting the mantras or what I'm speaking over myself. It requires like taking that extra intentional step, that extra level of allowing an awareness to integrate those energies and those sensations, those mantras when we're speaking them over ourselves, and that inner child work. And that is so important. And that keeps us from, I think, being in that listless place. Like that helps us to rise above and become, so much more reconnected and feel once again the vibrancy of life. And then there are even times for me too where I'm in that place and like I can see source in so many different ways, like in everything. Not to say that everything is good or beneficial, but everything is here to either teach me or help me grow in some way. And then like just kind of admiring that experience and like enjoying that experience and the growth that comes from that experience. And then there's that like satisfaction, and you're in it and you're flowing with it, and it feels fantastic. I don't know if that resonates with anyone else, but
it's so true. And like I've said a couple times on my channel, with some of the healing energy that I've been doing, the inner child seems to come through like quite a bit, of like, needing to be held, for just, hold your inner child, like just envision yourself as an inner child and give your inner child a hug. Let your inner child know that like in this now moment, you are safe and you're loved and you love them. And then the inner child keeps showing me different ways to just experience, being that child again, right? So like I've seen such beautiful things, whether it's like a kid playing with a kite, or, you know, playing with the dolphins, or all these different things that always seems to really resonate with the person, right? You know, comes to me and I'm like, I don't know what this means. But it is. And, you know, even yesterday, right? Like doing the activation with Lily Nova was so important for our own inner child work as well, like healing our own. We all have traumas, you know.
Yeah.
We've all been programmed, we've all been indoctrinated in different ways. We may not all have, you know, specific traumas like what we were kind of focusing on yesterday with the little ones being trafficked and stuff like that. But really, like, we're not here to be like putting everybody's traumas on like the scale. Trauma's trauma, right?
Yeah.
And that's where it's like, it doesn't
Not a
matter what
competition.
you've gone through, your body just knows it's traumatized, right? And it's just like whatever it is that caused that, you still felt that, right? So it's like, and that's still within you, and that's what needs to be healed, and that what needs to be worked on. So that, like, I literally cannot emphasize that activation more, because it just was so powerful. I cried like all day yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, my little guy wanted to do it with him, and he fell asleep right before, but I did it in the room where he fell asleep because I knew he would still benefit from the energy, you know, with the singing bowl and just the collective of all of us getting together and doing that, right? So
That's so precious. So wonderful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Tanya. Well, I don't want to, so guys, after this, Danielle is going to be doing a show with Malika, and want to make sure that we give them their time. So before we head out, Tanya, would you please go ahead and pull a card for us for this evening? Thank you so much.
let me light some sage if you guys want to ask some questions before I get things ready.
I've got a couple here. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. I did ask you if you wanted one.
Okay.
I think Keith asked about if that was the solar plexus. So the solar plexus is up higher, where your hara is more like, is at like your belly button area. So I don't know if that's exactly where, I don't want to say for sure that that's what Kathleen, I think she said belly button area. So to me, just reading what she was saying, it really sounded like she was connecting with her life force energy, which is your hara.
Yeah. And Keith also mentioned, thank you, Tanya. Keith also mentioned he likes to imagine his aura pulsating out when he's tried meditating. And I just wanted to talk about the importance real quick of, you know, yes, like when you're in your heart space and when you're aligned, you have like we all have an aura. You can project that energy outwards, regardless of where you are. And, you know, warning, it will piss off the negative entities out there. It will probably drive them away. I did it when I was voting, like whenever that was, like a month ago. And I remember like there was all of this like negativity in the room, and I just took a moment to really project outwards. And it's not about my ego or anything like that, but there was a notable change to the area around me. So yeah, be that center in the storm, be that stillness, find it, and then send it outwards, send it from your heart. It's so important. Really, it really is.
I just love how the right cards always like just kind of like this little wrapping of whatever we were talking about. Just like this little bow of like, here you go, you guys are on the right track. So for anybody that came on like later, we were talking in the beginning about like self-care and how it's like it's so important to put yourself first and to do that self-care. So the card that came through for the collective, if you can see that, was prioritize self-care.
Excellent.
So these are the Sword of Light, Archangel Michael's Sword of Light cards, if anybody's wondering. It's a really new deck that I just got. You do so much for others. It's time for you to experience the love you deserve and let others help you.
Yes. So true. And, you know, we can't give from an empty cup. So it's so important for us to find that alignment, find that nourishment, and give from within, give from our connection to source, to creator God, to, you know, God, goddess, and then, you know, feel the connection that we all share. Thank you so much, Tanya, for sharing that.
Do you want to hear the book says?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So this book says, yours is a beautiful soul. You are always reaching out to others to help lift them up. Your heart is open to those in need nearly 24/7. You sometimes wonder if the world tells me your problems are energetically tattooed on your forehead. Man, when I used to be a hairstylist, I totally felt that. Your loving heart and desire to be of service is a miraculous gift and a true sign of your connection to the divine. However, you cannot pour from an empty vessel, which is exactly what Justin just said. It is time for you to recharge your spiritual batteries by allowing others to care for you. Take a spa day, spend quiet time in nature without your phone, and pick up days in your calendar when it's just, or when you're just not available to take care of anyone other than yourself. Like literally exactly what we were talking about.
It
Open
is.
your heart to allowing those who love you to give back to you. Trust that others want to care for you rather than planning how you will care for them to pay them back. It's okay. You can do it. Just let it happen.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Tanya, thank you so much for reading that, and for pulling that card for us. Before we go, let's all just take a moment, close your eyes if you want to. Take a deep breath in, acknowledging any tension that you might be feeling, and then breathing out and letting it go. Let it be replaced by the love of our Creator, to whom we are all connected all the time. Even when we don't remember that we always are. Feel that strength. Carry it with you as you go. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Gypsy Mama. Thank you, and hope you all have a wonderful evening. Please go ahead over to the Crystal Healing Mama if you feel so inclined. Yeah, I say let's continue the fun over there. So
It's on Danielle's channel, right?
yes.
I'll put it in the chat for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining on Justin's first live.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience once again. So, yeah.
Sorry guys, I'm trying to find it.
Oh, sure.
Okay, there we go. I just posted it. So, as Ava says, let's hop on over to our neighbor's channel.
Yeah.
Continue the fun over there.
You got it. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you over there. Take care. Bye.